Men, here's the truth no one told you. Moving in with your girlfriend can cost you everything. Not just your money, your respect, your leverage, even your future. And most men don't see the trap until it's too late. Let me show you real cases, real research, and the psychology behind why cohabitation looks like love, but often works against you. Share this with a man you care about, because society will never warn you about this. The problem: why cohabitation feels smart. You've probably heard this before. Why pay two rents when you're always together anyway? Friends, family, even your parents might say moving in is the next logical step. It feels convenient. You'll save money, share chores, grow closer. But here's the hidden truth. Every year in the US, over 18 million people are in cohabiting relationships. That's double the number from the 1990s. Yet multiple studies show these couples are less likely to ever marry, and when they do, they're more likely to divorce. So the very step that's supposed to strengthen your relationship might be silently undermining it. Hidden cost 1, the legal trap. Let's start with the law. In 2016, a man in Texas learned the hard way that his 8-year live-in girlfriend was considered his common-law wife. He never signed marriage papers, but because Texas recognizes common-law marriage, she claimed half his house and assets during their split. And the court sided with her. This isn't rare. States like Texas, Colorado, Utah, and others recognize common-law marriage. If you cohabit long enough, you can be legally bound just as if you had walked down the aisle. Even in states without it, women can file palimony suits. That's when a court says, "You lived as if you were married, so you owe her support." Cases like Marvin versus Marvin in California set the precedent decades ago. So what looks like just splitting rent could become an unofficial marriage with all the risks of divorce but none of the protections, like prenups. Hidden cost 2, the psychological trap. Now let's talk psychology. Ever heard of the cohabitation effect? Researchers at the University of Denver found that couples who live together before marriage are 15 to 20% more likely to divorce than those who don't. Another study from the National Marriage Project found lower satisfaction and higher conflict among cohabiting couples. Why? Because the dynamic changes. When you move in too soon, she gets the benefits of marriage without making the commitment. You're giving up leverage. One man on Reddit described his story. He moved in with his girlfriend at 24. She slowly stopped respecting him. She no longer dressed up for him. Chores became arguments. Intimacy dropped. He said, "I felt like a husband without ever being a husband." After 4 years, she left him, and he realized he'd wasted nearly half a decade with nothing to show. This is what psychologists call inertia theory. Instead of actively choosing marriage, couples just drift into it because moving out feels inconvenient. That inertia destroys intentional choice, and choice is the oxygen of attraction. Hidden cost 3, the financial trap. You think you're saving money? Let's break it down. A man in New York co-signed a lease with his girlfriend. When she lost her job, she stopped paying her half. By the time the relationship ended, he was $8,000 in debt for unpaid rent and utilities. The landlord didn't care whose name was on what. He was liable. Here's the brutal truth. Marriage, at least, has legal frameworks for division of property and protection. Cohabitation does not. If she leaves, she can walk out with the furniture, half the savings you casually mixed, and you're left holding the bills. And remember, debt collectors don't care about your love story. Hidden cost 4, the opportunity trap. There's one more cost most men never see: the cost of lost opportunity. Moving in creates comfort. You stop asking the hard questions. Is this the woman I want to marry? Instead, you say, well, we already live together. This is how men lose years. Statistics show that cohabiting relationships average just 18 months before breaking up. Yet many men stay far longer out of comfort, wasting prime years they could have spent building purpose, career, and meeting better matches. One man told his story online. He lived with his girlfriend from 27 to 32. She left. He said, "It felt like a divorce, but I had no legal recourse. I lost time, money, and momentum. Now I'm rebuilding at 33, and it feels like starting over." The twist: pro-relationship, pro-smart decision. Let me be clear, this isn't about being anti-relationship. Love is powerful, partnership is valuable, but awareness protects both you and the relationship. A man who understands the risks sets boundaries. He decides when commitment makes sense and under what terms. That clarity creates respect, and respect keeps attraction alive. Don't give marriage benefits without marriage clarity. That's not smart. That's not masculine leadership. And it doesn't serve her either, because without boundaries, she loses respect for you. So before you pack boxes and sign leases because it feels easy, stop. Ask yourself, is this moving me toward a better future? Or am I locking myself into risk? Share this with a man who thinks moving in is just about splitting bills. Tag your brother, your son, your best friend. Because once you're inside the cohabitation trap, it's hard to get out without scars.